How trusting my gut saved a patient's life and exactly why I teach this to my team. Hi, I'm Dr. Arshad, a GP at the Brook Surgery in Hyde, Manchester. I remember when I was working in A&E as a trainee, I was coming onto a shift and the day team was handing over to myself. They advised me of a young gentleman who had been out cycling on his bike and sustained a head injury. The advice given to me was to make sure that the head scan that was done for him was clear, and if it was and there was no bleed on the brain, then we can send him home. With all my patients, I always like to get to know them before I make any plans, so I had a chat with this gentleman and he mentioned to me that he was out cycling on his bike, he tripped and he hit his head off the bike and he lost consciousness for a period of time. This is why a scan was ordered in the first place. Now this gentleman was particularly healthy, he didn't have much body fat on him and you can see a lot of his muscle tone, but his abdomen area didn't seem in line with the rest of his body, and this didn't fit right with me. So I asked him, did he hit his tummy at all? He said no, not that he remembers. I said, oh, did you have any food the day before that could have been, off or eaten out? And he said no, he normally eats a healthy diet and he doesn't recall having anything that could have upset his stomach, and he's not had any strange bowel motions. I waited for the head scan to come back and it was clear, but as I was looking at this gentleman's tummy, I noticed that it's looking more swollen, if anything. So I had a feel around and he wasn't in pain, but something just wasn't fitting right. So we checked his blood pressure and his blood pressure dropped slightly. And though I was advised before I saw this patient to send him home, I did the opposite. I ordered a scan on his abdomen because it just wasn't right. And actually, when the scan came back, it showed that he had a laceration in his liver and he was bleeding profusely into his tummy. And that's why it was actually appearing to be swollen compared to the rest of his body. He actually had emergency surgery that night. They repaired his liver, gave him some blood. His life was saved. If I had just let him go with the head scan being normal, chances are he could have passed away in his sleep. So that's one thing I always tell my team. When your gut doesn't just feel right when you're speaking to a patient and it's not quite making sense, or you pick up on something that doesn't seem right, trust your gut, follow that, and often you'll find a conclusion or an answer that you weren't expecting that could potentially change the outcome for the patient or even save their life.